recreating that pattern. Okay. So it's much more of an involved process than how science takes that pattern process. Does that make sense? So I know there are students who come with which I'm kind of curious about what you thought about the sciences.
So, like, what would today's era of science and discovery be classified as? Like, there's the Renaissance and then different periods where there's like focused on chemistry or biology. What would today be considered?
So yes, my studio, I'm curious, I don't know if this was new to, I mean, a lot of this was kind of an overview of sort of like Western thought, and then also there's a lot of astronomy, and I don't know how much of it's new to the folks in the architecture studio, but I think one of the things that I'd be really interested, I would like some of you to respond, but there's issues of sort of knowledge and who has access and how it's produced, and the question of sort of the sort of agency of the scientist. That in a lot of ways, I think this question of science versus art is very relevant to us in architecture, especially as we address public health and then other aspects of ecology as well. Well, I was just encouraging my students to respond.
I think it's interesting, I think you just said it a couple questions ago, how art kind of becomes a process of experimentation and hypothesis and then testing that. And I know right now in our studio we're doing a lot of studies of demographics around certain populations, and I think kind of a link between, like what you were saying, a link between art and science would be the visualization and the manifesting that data in a form or a space or some way to portray that through design, testing it, seeing how people respond to it, getting feedback outside of your own mind, but and then trying it again. And I think it's interesting to think of that when as a scientific process, which I know I don't usually do, but they're very closely correlated.
Yeah, to add to Kevin's comment, I think a lot of science today, and with the whole notion of expanding knowledge to the greater society, deals a lot with visualization and being able to share a lot of information in something simple as an image. And I think recently we've also encountered issues where that visualization can also be misrepresented, much like certain scientific laws can be misrepresented. So for me, I just find that interesting, and then how it, I guess, always ties back to some ethic of it, because it seems like science in itself is a am I right or wrong question. So as soon as you ask that question, you're involving some sort of ethic in the response you look into discovery. So for me, it's just always thinking about how the visualization or the image that I'm trying to create will bring about, I guess, what I'm also representing in it.
I think that's actually sort of interesting that, so you're talking about the visualization versus a yes or no question. And it's interesting because there's often this very large nebulous theory that's happening, but you have to answer a yes or no, so you have to make it more and more simple in order to have this yes or no, so you can have a hypothesis to prove or disprove. But I think that if you sort of back up 20 or so pages, then you get back to the sort of nebulous thing that you can visualize it, that becomes more artistic. I'm responding to the idea of the scientific process versus an architecture idea where you can see where they sort of come from same or a similar playing field, and it's which path you go down. right? Sorry. Another food for thought idea.
I think that's true though, you like, at a certain point, there are situations where you have to say, if I'm understanding you're like yes or no to certain things, but there's overall, as a solution to a problem, there's never gonna be always one correct answer, but in certain moments you have to make certain, like, step back, test a hypothesis, make a decision. Eventually it'll come together as a whole, it could manifest itself in different ways.
Going back to like quantifying intelligence, I was just thinking like a lot of people think you can do a lot of math problems quickly, that you're intelligent, but that would make like a computer the smartest thing, and obviously it's not an intelligent thing. So like, I think intelligence is like knowing cause and effect really well, knowing if I do something, the outcome before it happens. That's why someone as simple as like a fisherman could be intelligent if they know how to catch fish well. They know how to produce something and the effect that will happen.
Kind of, that's a question. Is there an empty reason in here? I know like there's, yeah. So how do you go about researching into artificial intelligence? Like what are some of the stuff that you identify as intelligence and try to, you know, artificially make it? What are you making when you're saying you're doing research in artificial intelligence? That's something that that triggers.
I took artificial intelligence, I'm a computer science major, so engineering. It has a lot to do with planning and decision making and how to organize knowledge. You can organize knowledge like it's a database, so it's a big book. So it was broken down into those three things: decision making, planning, and knowledge.
I think a lot of this is simulation, because intelligence is not only like being smart at something, but a lot of people classify it as being able to adapt to something quicker than other people. So the more quickly that you can learn something and get, I guess, good at it, which is really general still, that would be classified as intelligence. So something for like artificial intelligence would be the capability to make a computer, a robot, be faced with a situation and choose either option based on its surroundings. So it's almost like mimicking, simulating what a human would do. That's kind of like an artificial intelligence, and what we would classify as kind of like a human intelligence. Something I'm also a pre-med student, I really like. There's a difference between MDs and DOs. With allopathic medicine and a full body stuff that's coming out. So regular medical school, it's like part by part, whereas the DO, it's more full body. So, what?
What does the use stand for?
I can't remember. I'm more MD based, but I know that DOs like exist. That's an option.
It stands for Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine.
So basically, what you were talking about, the differences in how people go about a certain solution, like the parts versus the whole understanding. I think that works really well with how medicine is structured right now. With the MDs, more of understanding the body's parts and solving case by parts versus the DOs and the whole. And a lot of research and stuff that goes into the medical community. So I was wondering, what's your take? Do you think that our greater solutions lie when there's like an overlap of parts-based research and a whole-based research, or is it on the other side?
I think it should overlap at some point. It also that kind of brings up this branch of neuroscience, like systematic neuroscience. Instead of just focusing on your favorite gene or your favorite molecule, it's more about the connections between different pathways that they're concerned about. and that involves the whole system, the brain as a system, and it has a different perspective about how to understand chemical process, for example. It'll be interesting. I think the next thing that I need to check this is to check out what the demo is, what kind of curriculum that they implemented. So it's something that would be interesting to look at. It's for but yeah, I think at some point, in the ideal situation, starting from my other point, there should be an overlap between the two. What kind of unifies the universal thinking for Any other comments? So we have 5 minutes left, last discussion topics. Okay. So next week we'll have Jennifer Robertson from the History of Art Department. She'll come in and talk about a brief overview about modern art, also focusing on iOS in particular as her specialty. And I think she'll also talk about a little bit about artificial intelligence and robotics in art. So it's going to be exciting. So everyone turned in their question sheet.
I don't have money for prizes right now. Actually, what? Is what you should actually be talking about. I actually really like the adaptation thing. It's broken. Oh, it's just broken now. Because he was talking about the ability to like get a new situation and adapt to it. Coming up and think about that whole idea of the frame problem. I was talking about yesterday, right? And it's the whole idea of like, can you identify what is actually the important thing and make a decision and make that decision quickly, right? That's kind of cool. Your backpack is already.
My husband was concerned.
Oh, no. Thanks for talking.
Yeah. The only thing I can suggest to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know, I noticed my voice was like kind of.
Just like, I was really hoping that you weren't gonna be like, oh, I'm too late, I just went home, and then I would have like saved it to all these people. And then they would have just been like, there's no way.
I'm just gonna kill this.
Exactly.
I didn't realize that we didn't have that word, so I wrote some here. No, that's okay.
No, I didn't. Yeah, no.
Thank you.
I think I'm technically taking this. Sorry, I ended up taking a class where it would have said anything about how long it would take you to get here.
Oh, no. Don't think I ever talked this much.
That's a good lecture though.
Thank you. See you next week.
Next week.
I'm not actually registering this class, but I'm Sarah Carrington. I'm a freshman here.
Oh,
I'm at Science and
oh, you emailed me.
I did, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm just really curious about how you got to where you are. Because I mean, that was something that I wasn't sure about if I wanted to go into the arts or I really want to study psychology, but I'm used to like somehow make them both work. So
I'm still working on that.
yeah, John Luther is
Yeah.
actually the one who told me about that. But I mean, yeah. So I was just curious. I mean, how would you figure it out or?
So I It wasn't until like I was in my junior year in college that I decided I was going to do biology in addition to art.
So you like graduated or already, or?
So right now I'm a postdoc. I got my PhD
Oh, okay.
in neuroscience.
Okay.
But when I was here as an undergrad, so as an undergrad here,
Yeah.
I came in as an art student,
Yeah.
and I stayed as an only art student for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But still, there were like a couple of interesting courses from LSA that I really wanted to take. So I took like those biology courses, although and all that stuff. And during my junior year, I realized that I really wanted to do research,
Yeah.
and that's when I applied to do a joint degree in biology and arts.
Yeah.
So that's what I got for a bachelor's degree. I got a joint degree in biology and arts.
Do you think it like helped you? Like the fact that you had an art degree, it kind of gave like people like it made you stand out in a way, or?
If you're applying for medical school, it would be much better to
Yeah.
have an degree, but I don't know about grad schools. Grad school, it's more about recommendation letters. If
Yeah.
you're thinking about going to grad schools.
I mean, I don't know. I'm right now. I'm in the Europe.
Oh yeah, that's
thing.
awesome.
So I'm like going to be studying some with the GSI,
Oh,
working on his research project. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. You just seem to like melt. Like, are you doing research now?
Not really.
No.
So I stopped working in a wet lab situation about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't stand killing mice anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Oh no.
so and yeah, now what I'm doing is actually collaborating with researchers in LSI and having a PhD degree in neuroscience actually helps me with that part because
Yeah.
they are more accepting of me. They like feel like I'm this intruder coming into their lab to do whatever.
Yeah.
But they know I had the training, I had the background, so it's more of a trusting relationship that I have with the individual PIs, the principal investigators. So that makes the interaction much more easier for me. And what I'm doing is I'm taking their research and either through a visualization or I like to do installation, like interactive installations. So
what is that?
So the layest project that I worked on is interesting. It involved using EEG machines to have the viewer interact with their environment within the very confined space, and it was to promote a meditation, meditative experience. So like I studied how Buddhism thought about meditation and how that affects the brain patterns and that. So that was all incorporated into my installation. So the viewers, when they go in with this head device, they could actually experience what the Buddhists were talking about when there is, under the doctrine of no self, there is no such thing as a self. So as their meditation level got deeper, I had like a little mirror that disappeared once they reached a certain threshold. So they lost their own self-image. So in that way, it was like a feedback mechanism that emphasized the Buddhist concept of non-self.
Wow, that's so weird. I love that. That sounds like something I would love to do. But I mean, So did you do any research, or did you assist with anything at all, or?
Here?
Yeah.
Once I came here, I didn't do really any like hands-on research, well, except for some of the collaborations where I wanted to use actual animals in my art. So I collaborated with this one researcher. He allowed me to access his Drosophila.
What is that?
Fruit fly.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of used them in my art and stuff like that. But it wasn't really like systematic research that I was doing, but it was more like experimental art.
Yeah. No, that's still really cool. So I mean, as far as the art part goes, so you're not using it as much, like your degree, like it's not as like, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you still like paint stuff on the side, but you're not using it like in your career kind of idea.
Oh, now I'm more of an artist than a scientist because so the main results of my research, so to speak, research is not like hands-on research, but researching the literature more.
Yeah.
So instead of, you can think of it this way, so instead of, right now what I'm doing is instead of writing a paper about my research, I'm making artwork about what I found in the literature.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm considered more of an artist. So I have my like studio next to the faculty studio.
Yeah.
space and-
That's what John Bunker had said.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know, I mean,
But yeah, if you can handle the curriculum,
yeah.
I'm sure that if you wanted to do a joint degree, it'll like take a lot of time and
How long did it take you?
so, well, for me, because it wasn't until my junior year that I decided to do a joint degree. I had a lot of like courses that I needed to
To
take.
fill in, yeah.
Yeah, so it took me 5 years, so 1 additional year. But in the middle, I went to Japan to do a study abroad, so
Oh, wow, so
Kind of
it was like,
to
yeah,
close
everything out. Yeah, no, I'm sure.
yeah.
Oh, okay, wow. Yeah, I'm sorry about the email, I just wanted to really meet you.
No, that's
That's, yeah, yeah, I don't know, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, I think I read that you were doing biomedical visualization.
Not so much visualization, it's more abstract.
Okay.
So just representing the ideas.
Yeah.
I'm less interested in literal transition of taking something that's scientific news or making it artistic. That's not really
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm more concerned about the idea itself.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, that's something that we're studying in one of our classes is the art in context. Is sort of what you talked about today in Plato. Is like, the bed is like an essence of the bed. He was explaining how art is like, really powerful because it can give you that feeling or essence of the bed when it's really just an imitation. And so, so that's what you're saying. That's what you kind of are trying to do in the same sense.
Ooh.
I mean,
That's a very awesome way to put it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like you're trying to give that imitation. I mean, that's something I've been thinking about is like, you're trying to, that's basically what art is bringing an emotion out of a person. And yeah, that's what you're trying to do is a specific emotion you're trying to bring about. So like you said, like the monks and giving people that feeling of what it is to like really, so I mean, like when they were sitting there, they didn't really have to like do anything, right? It just sort of like automatically like flood through them. And stuff like that. That's so like, and what was it? Was it like how did you access like that part of their brain and like make them feel that like?
Oh, it's actually, I bought this like really cheap EEG device that was actually built for gaming industry.
Oh yeah.
So it only had like 1 electrode in the forehead.
Oh yeah.
It was dry electrode, so we didn't have to wet or change the cotton.
Yeah.
And I hacked into the system so that I think it was Beta Wave that I decided to use at the end. It's not actually like meditation, but it's more of a concentration level.
Yeah.
So the higher the concentration level, the more beta waves that we see.
Yeah.
So once the amount of beta wave reaches a certain threshold, so the mechanism of how my work actually works is, so we have this EEG device, and it's reading gamma power, and the mirror is facing a mirror, and this is like a two-way mirror. I don't know what that is.
No.
So if it's lighter, if the light intensity is higher on the outside, you see a reflection of yourself. But if there's light on the inside, you see what's in the inside. So it's like a storefront.
Oh yeah, like with the police station kind of idea.
Yeah. So I built this box behind the mirror. So the box is hidden, and there's a little LED light, and this is connected to a microcontroller, like a little computer that receives the signal coming from the EEG device. And once the gamma intensity reaches a certain level, the light will go on, which means that instead of seeing the reflection, he's seeing what's inside the box. And inside the box, I made a little a screen, just out of white paper. And so he's actually seeing the white paper, but it seems like he's just seeing through the mirror, and his image disappears.
Yeah. Okay. So when the LED light like turned on, was it when like a certain point in the brain had been like reached, kind of idea?
Yeah. So once it's not reading like a specific part of the brain. It's just like it's a field recording in a sense of the entire like forehead forehead region. So I don't know. The instruction says that it's prefrontal cortex, but I don't think it is. It's probably like reading, blood pulsation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and so then they got this, it's like exactly the same as what a normal experience then?
No, it's like a simulation of,
Yeah.
A visualization of what non-self is.
Okay. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so in Buddhist philosophy, there can be no self, there is no self, therefore no suffering, because the concept that you are suffering is caused by the idea that there is a self, but if you really think about it, what consists of the self, you realize that there is no like a concrete, non-changing thing that you can call a self. Like where do you go after death? The monks believe that you get like you fall apart.
Yeah, just like disintegrate.
And there's no self left.
Yeah.
So that means there is no self. It's just an illusion. It's something that your belief holds on to. So I was interested in that concept, and I wanted to like, visually simulate that to people who don't know Buddhism.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So when you like presented this, did you give it to did you have your professors or whoever you were presenting it to go in and like do this, or did you just like display yourself? That's so cool.
So this was displayed a couple of times. This was displayed in a conference called Towards the Science of Consciousness. So people there really like this idea, and I also did a little exhibition in LSI, which is where I have my office in, and people there really thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Anything interactive. Really.
Yeah, they love that. So as far as your like, sorry to like explain that.
No, that's okay.
So as far as like your just like daily work goes, so like when you like wake up in the morning and go to work, like what are you doing? Like what is
Reading literature.
really?
Reading literature. Like sometimes writing reviews. Of course, like preparing for classes like this.
Yeah.
And so during the morning time, I usually go through PubMed. Read the literature, so what's the latest research.
Yeah.
And during the afternoon, after I have my lunch, I go back to my studio and do work.
Yeah.
Just work on my art project.
And so sorry, you said like your art right now, like what are you doing? What is it just like see for me like an artist would just like make a mural art, but sometimes you have this science side to it that is you're integrating, and I just don't understand like what are you doing?
I think you will really benefit by coming to my class.
No, yeah, I'm mad I'm not like, I don't think I can register because I'm only a freshman, but I mean, it's open to the public, so I'm thinking just like, you know.
You can register, it's a 1 credit Pascal course.
I'm not sure because when I was like registering for classes with like, your advisor, they told me that it was a senior class, and therefore I wasn't qualified. But,
It's open to everyone. There's like a couple of freshmen who's taking this.
Oh, really?
So go ahead and just.
Yeah, I'll just.
You know the number of this class?
It's like
398, section 2.
So this is your class, and you're just having like guest speakers and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I organized the entire semester to represent different artists who is working in certain conjunction with biology.
Yeah. See, I like that though. Like I really love that idea of like just the two of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
You still have a lot of time in front of you.
I know. I'm just one of those people who I like to get things like figured out like concretely, like right away kind of thing.
Always leave that little flexibility.
Yeah, I don't have very much patience, but I'll try. I don't know. I have an interview for this one research position of like the whole idea is like social like cognition and how like small changes in the environment affect the way that you think about people, or like not about people, but how you're altered psychologically kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah,
That sounds very complicated.
I'm excited for it, but I don't know. I feel like right now I only have like 2 paths sort of thing, like to stick down art or to stick through to science, like psychology, and I mean you would just that is really interesting. But yeah, no. I'll probably keep coming. So if you have any other. Have you research done or need anything, like let me know. I would love to work with you or something along those lines. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, okay, so it was nice to meet you. Thank you for letting me like, pick your brain.
Okay.
I'll see you probably next class.